And Ben was not allowed to go in the back room, so he stayed in the waiting area. I'm 9 months pregnant, laying completely flat in this bed. My upper half of my body is exposed. At this point, this is my second kid. I shouldn't be so, I guess, vulnerable. I don't know how to explain it. I had tons of nurses and doctors the first time around down here giving birth. Like, up here it should have been a breeze, but I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't breathe. They were prepping me for this doctor that I felt like took forever to go back in there. I was so nervous because I was so scared I was gonna feel pain, which I did. She numbed me up and I felt like I couldn't feel anything. But when you get this biopsy, it's like a needle within a needle in itself. So when she pushes the button, like another needle comes out flying to get a sample and goes back in. It felt like it was gonna go from one side to the other. Like, it hurt so bad. Anyways, she got the samples or whatever, and I remember feeling so frustrated and so angry and so exposed and annoyed that Ben couldn't go back there with me. So they called him back. As soon as I saw Ben, like, I couldn't hold my tears any longer. Like, I just started crying. I think it had to do with the hormones as well. Like, over being pregnant. I was so tired. Anyways, we got sent home. They said results should be in within the week. And on December 18th, I gave birth to my little Eliana Grace. I remember being in the hospital and asking, like, hey, telling Ben, like, you should call and see, like, where are these results at? Because, like, I need to know, am I okay to breastfeed with this lump? Like, what if it is something, like, is this gonna affect Eliana? Yada, yada. Ben ended up calling, I think, the same day we had Eliana or the next day. And they were like, the results are in, but the doctor hasn't read them. We're like, what the hell? Like, we need to know. I ended up asking the nurses there, and they were like, I don't see why not, you can't breastfeed. So I went ahead and started breastfeeding Eliana. Got to go home, and still no results. Like, until Ben snapped one day and started calling around, started calling my primary care doctor, started calling the ultrasound place, and he went off. He was like, it's not fair that you guys have us waiting there and that these results are there, but no one's taking the time to look at them to tell us what it is. So, yeah, I think a couple hours later, my primary care doctor, and this was the 23rd of December, she called and she was like, it's not good news. Like, she's like, it came back as invasive ductal carcinoma. And we're like, okay, like, what is that? And she's like, it's breast cancer. I'm trying to make this video without crying, but I remember holding Eliana, like, she was crying, and the doctor said cancer, and I feel like my ears started ringing. Like, I didn't hear anything else past cancer. I remember holding Eliana and just thinking, like, I felt like I was gonna die the next day. Like, I was like, how? Like, I just had my baby. Like, I just met her. How am I, like, I don't know. It's a crazy feeling, like, but, and this happened all in December. So Christmas is around the corner. I'm not getting any sleep. My baby wakes up every 2 hours. At nighttime, it was hard for me to even get sleep because I was like, dude, I'm gonna sleep and I'm gonna wake up dead. Like, it was so scary. And then in December time, it was so hard to find a doctor that would take me in or that had anything available, because in December everyone's getting their holidays, going out of town. They don't have available appointments. Like, it was so hard. Finally, City of Hope saw me till January 4th. And that's when they told me. By then, my lump was the size of say like a golf ball. Like, it was big. I remember thinking like, man, I will go through chemo, I will go through radiation, I'll go through the surgery. And I always hoped that there was some mix-up of me having cancer. Like, they gave me somebody else's results. Like, I don't even care if that happened, if I went through all this chemo stuff, but at the end of the day, I won't have cancer. I mean, but then when I look back, like, this little lump was the size of a bean. And by the time I got my first chemo, it was the size of a golf ball. Like, there was no denying that. So when I saw my doctor the first time on the 4th, your age, he's like, you have a very aggressive, it's like, aggressive cancer. And he's like, we want to treat it very aggressively. So, I'm sorry, the camera keeps getting out of focus. He's like, you have a very aggressive cancer and we want to treat it very aggressively. So they started me with a regimen called ACNT. The A is called adromycin, which they call it the Red Devil. And it is one of the harshest, sorry guys. It's one of the harshest chemical poison that they can put in your body. It's called Red Devil for a reason. And then the C is called cyclophosphamide. I don't know, that one's a really hard one. But it was a combination given to me for 4 rounds every 2 weeks. Oh my god. Every 2 weeks. That one, the only way I could describe how I felt with it was, my camera is being stupid, guys. I felt hungover, like your worst possible hangover you had in your life, times 10 for like 4 or 5 days straight. So I would get it on, like, say a Wednesday, and I would have a whole week, and then the following Wednesday I would get it again. With that one, I would go home with a